As leaders grow in their careers, they accumulate both breadth and depth of experience. People see them moving up the ladder and think, "Oh, they must have done a lot of things. They must know the secret to success." They go to them for help, for answers, for advice, as a sounding board, etc. And many leaders are only too happy to oblige. The term, servant leader, has been glorified and is often incorrectly applied. We use this label incorrectly when referring to a leader who is willing to jump in and get in the trenches with their people. A direct report will come to them with a big, hairy problem and they come to the rescue to save them from sure destruction. If you dig into the true definition of servant leadership, it is serving your team over managing for results to create an environment where people are empowered to grow and create value. Under the guise of service, many leaders instead become fixers who are actively hindering the growth of their people. The cycle perpetuates with team members becoming increasingly dependent on them for help and decision-making. The leader is then spending more time fixing and firefighting than focusing on high-value work. Harvard Business Review reports that over 50% of managers feel burned out. The fixer approach is unsustainable and in conflicting interests with both the leader and the team. I know this cycle far too well. This was me. When I took on a new role, leading a team of directors, I fell into the role of a fixer, feeling a deep responsibility to support my team very directly. My team was stagnating as a result and I was getting burned from all of that firefighting. Fortunately, I stumbled across an amazing piece of thought leadership, The Advice Trap, by Michael Bungay Stanier, that opened my eyes to how I was failing my team. Giving advice to advice seekers in these scenarios, Bungay Stanier posits, does not work. You are often solving the wrong problem or giving a mediocre solution that is based on your experience and not the unique experience of the individual who is in the midst of the problem. The author further says that giving advice can demotivate the recipients of said advice, overwhelm the givers of said advice, and compromise the effectiveness and resilience of the team and organization. Take a breath. When looking to shake up an unhealthy cycle, the first step is to recognize your trigger. In this case, this typically looks like receiving a call for help and feeling an immediate desire to respond. Pause. When a team member comes to you in crisis, it can be natural to mirror their energy. Instead, take a moment. Truly, take a deep breath to create some space for you to swallow your advice and for them to have a moment of reflection on what they have shared. Led with curiosity. You can tell whether a man is clever by his answers. You can tell whether a man is wise by his questions. Naguib Mahfouz. Your team member may be looking for an answer, but the best way you can serve them as their leader is to ask open-ended questions. Ask them broad questions around the why and the how, and coach them toward their own solution. Remember, above all, to not lead the witness by asking leading questions versus curious questions. Don't miss the debrief. You have sent your team member marching to solve the big hairy problem on their own. You may both be feeling vulnerable about this. You must accept that sometimes they will succeed and sometimes they will not. Regardless, it is important that you give them the space to stretch, learn, and grow. Furthermore, you want to follow up to hold them accountable for facing the issue head-on and to support them. The debrief is such an oft-missed opportunity. This is when you take the time to acknowledge their impact and build them up or to learn from what didn't work well. I have found that by shifting my approach from giving advice to coaching to solutions, my team has become eminently more accountable, taking ownership as leaders for driving successful outcomes. Resilient, adapting and responding to ambiguous situations and challenges. Collaborative, working with each other and leaning on their shared experience to win together. I would be remiss not to acknowledge that there are certainly times when getting directly involved as a leader to support your team member is the right call. Your team does need to see that you are willing to do the things that you ask of them and that you have their back. There is a delicate balance to strike, but I truly believe that the best way to serve our people as leaders is to take a step back in order to empower them to overcome their challenges and then pass that forward to their own people, creating not only a collaborative and accountable team, but a true culture of resilience.